Okay, if you write these three exclusions down, then you just have this, right?
Right.
So we have this, which is going to give us included values, right? So x has to be greater than or equal to 4, and also x has to be greater than or equal to -5, right?
Right.
It's got to be both. Okay. So we have to exclude any x less than -4, or than 4, and also exclude any x that's less than -5. Of course, if it's less than -5, then it's less than 4, right?
Right.
Okay. So we're going to just say it's got to be this and this. So it's only, x has to be greater than or equal to 4. Down here, so I say this, okay, we got to include the solutions to this, okay? Now there's a little confusion about or and I'm not really sure how I should have maybe expressed that. The solutions to the equation, well, the equation is solved if this is true or if this is true, right? So we got to exclude both this solution and this solution, right? So I'm going to change that or to an and because that gets logically a little difficult to process, okay? So we got to exclude this and we got to exclude this because they're both solutions to the equation, right? So now you could sketch a number line, right? Let's see, x has to be greater than or equal to 4, so let's see, here we got, okay, x has to be greater than or equal to 4, so it has to be here, right? And it has to be greater than or equal to -5. So it's got to be here. And it can't be -5, right?
Right.
So now we got to put a big circle around the -5 because of that. And we got to put a big circle around x equals 3. So we've got this, okay? That's got to be all of these. They can't have an x that satisfies, that doesn't satisfy all of these conditions, okay?
Okay.
Well, that means x couldn't be 3 anyway because it has to satisfy this, right? Okay?
Okay.
X can't be 5, -5, even if it wasn't excluded because of this, because it's not here, okay? So the x has to satisfy all the conditions. The only thing that satisfies all the conditions is this. Okay?
Okay.
Because this is one of the conditions. Okay, this doesn't meet the conditions anyway, so even though it's excluded because of this, it was excluded already. Okay?
Okay.
Because x has to be in this right interval. And this part of this arrow isn't in the interval. Well, everything below 4 has already been excluded, right? So all the exclusions that we got except for this one are redundant
Okay.
because x can only be greater than or equal to 4. Okay?
Okay.
So let's contrast that with what we would get if the expression was, that's not going to stay there. If the expression was this. Okay? Well, what we would get is, again, we would write out the equations and inequalities. And I said that was minus, should be plus. Because I want the interval here to be a little bit different. Okay? So when we do this square root of x plus 4, the domain restriction there tells us that x can't be less than negative 4. So x has to be greater than negative 4, right?
Right.
So x must be greater than or equal to negative 4. Okay? Well, then we have x plus 5 has to be greater than or equal to 0. So x has to be greater than or equal to negative 5. Okay? But it's already got to be greater than negative 4, right? So this adds nothing to the requirement x greater than or equal to negative 4. Okay? And then we have as before, any solution to the denominator equals 0 has to be excluded, right? So x equals negative 5 has to be excluded, but that's nothing new because x has to be greater than or equal to negative 4, right?
Right.
X already got to be greater than or equal to negative 4. So I'll say this is nothing new. Okay?
All right.
X minus 3 equals 0, which gives you x equals 3 has to be excluded. And this is something new. Okay? Because so far all we have is x has to be greater than or equal to negative 4. Well, 3 is greater than or equal to negative 4.
Mm-hmm.
So this is something new.
Right.
So, what are our restrictions? X has to be greater than or equal to negative 4, and x cannot be equal to 3. Okay?
All right.
So we draw our number line, And since we got 3 here and it's excluded, we're gonna put a circle around it. And then we put -4 over here. X has to be greater than or equal to -4. So it's everything to the right of this, except for 3, which got excluded, right?
Right.
So the domain is -4, 3, union 3, infinity.